Next, Wisconsin entrepreneurs pitch their businesses to local moguls. They will compete for over $30,000 in cash and awards to help take their businesses to the next level.
Hello, Wisconsin. Welcome to the Project Pitch It podcast. My name is Kyle Herzog. I'm the co-founder of Old Fashioned Golf, my own Wisconsin startup. We make Wisconsin-inspired golf apparel. And I was also on season 7 of Project Pitch It. That's how I kind of got into this role. And I'm a little bit obsessed with Wisconsin entrepreneurs and startups and their stories and the background. I just love hearing about it. I think it's so interesting and inspiring. And I think it will be for all our listeners as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to talk to local entrepreneurs, startups, creators, people that have gone through this journey and hear about their story. So to get started, we're going to talk to guests from season 7 of Project Pitch It. And today, we're going to talk to someone from the first episode. This is our first recording. So Marina Bloomer is very much a badass. She has a resume that sounds like it's from a sci-fi movie, as you will see when we talk to her. She has started Stellar Tech Girls, providing STEM programs for girls and non-binary kids in the Madison region for right now. Incredible story, really inspiring. Looking forward to everyone hearing it. Hi, Marina. Welcome to the show.
Happy to have you. Hi, thanks for having me.
So, quick business overview for the viewers, and of course, we'll get into this way more later. But you're the founder of Stellar Tech Girls, based in Middleton, correct? Middleton, Madison area, and you do STEM programs for young girls. So, we'll get way more into the details of that. But before we talk business too much, let's hear about your background, kind of from where you grew up all the way through college. How'd you get here?
Sure. So I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And then from there, I went to undergrad in Boston at Tufts University. I got an undergrad in mechanical engineering, and I worked out there at GE Aviation. So I jumped into engineering right off the bat in my career. And from there, I moved to LA and worked at SpaceX. So I was able to work on some really innovative, amazing, cutting edge things while I was there. And then it was time to kind of settle down a little bit. I wanted to move back closer to family. And so my husband and I decided to make Madison, Wisconsin our home. So that's how I ended up back here. And I'm happy to dig into any aspect of my history that makes sense.
I lived in Madison
let me know
for
what you want to know more
years,
about.
So I'll try to not go too deep into the Madison questions. But yeah, that's great. And when along the lines did you think you wanted to be an engineer? Do you have any specific memories of that?
Yeah, I definitely know that the moment that I decided to go into engineering was when I took physics in high school. So my parents are not engineers. They're always very supportive of me, and I always really loved math a lot when I was younger. But I liked everything when I was a kid. I thought I was going to grow up and be an author because I loved reading and writing, and I still do. I love creative things and art. And so I was always, really kind of well-rounded looking back on it now. But at the time, it was just kind of sporadic, and I liked everything I tried. But then when I took physics in high school, something just really clicked. I really loved that class a lot, of being able to learn how the world works around me and why it works the way it does. And something with, being able to apply math and logic to the way that everything works, it left me wanting more. So when I took that class, my parents kind of saw something in me at that moment and suggested that I look into engineering. I was trying to decide what did I want to do when I went to college at the time. So they suggested I started kind of thinking about that, learning more about it. So I did, and that's kind of what kicked off deciding that mechanical engineering aligned with my love for physics and building things, and gave me a way to really apply that love for math and logic and analytics, and then also be able to use creativity at the same time. So that's cool. Kind of what led me down that road.
To me. I remember my high school physics class and the same thing. I went to engineering school, so it's like I'm speaking in a mirror, which is cool. I think when people hear SpaceX, of course, that's going to catch their attention. I think SpaceX is now in that category with Google, Facebook, these places that are the really cool, innovative places to work. What was it like being there?
It was great. It was a great time to be there. It was earlier days when we were trying to do really the impossible. So I've always, my whole career, including now, been trying to work on things that seem impossible. And it really gives me a lot of drive to work places that are cutting edge and innovative. And so I came into SpaceX at a time when we were trying to land rockets for the first time. So we had not yet successfully landed rockets. We were redesigning the rocket there to be capable of launching astronauts for the first time. So it was not human rated yet. So I came in at a really exciting time to be there, and I got to be part of a team that was really pushing the boundaries of aerospace. And a lot of people said things we were trying to do were not possible, and we proved them wrong while I was there. So it was really incredible to get to be part of that. And the culture there, also really encourages, you take on a lot of responsibility. So it gave me an ability to really, kind of leapfrog in my career too, because I was given so much leadership and so much responsibility at a relatively young age compared to other companies, and the amount of responsibility you get in engineering at other places. And so, yeah, it was a great thing to be a part of, and I really thrived there. I liked
Oh yeah,
working around a lot of high performers, and
I can
yeah, it
imagine
was it
that
was a good time.
intensity and trying to solve the unknown is probably exciting, maybe a bit overwhelming at times, but probably more exciting than anything. Oh yeah,
Yeah, both. There were high
that's
highs and
very
low
cool.
lows when you work somewhere
Speaking
like
of
that.
trying to do
Yeah.
the impossible, then you decide to start your own business. So when did that idea come up, kind of in your career journey?
Yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. So I've always taught engineering. So my first job when I was in college, so my first college job was teaching Lego robotics in local elementary and middle schools. So I've always had a passion for teaching science and engineering. While I was going off and building a career in engineering, I've always done it on the side. And when I was going into classrooms, especially going into classrooms compared with things like after school programs or extracurricular things, you're able to see, all of the kids are participating. And so I really saw this reaction to the girls in the classroom of not wanting to jump in right away, this hesitation that exists, especially at the middle school age. And so I was able throughout the years, while I always did this on a volunteer basis too, as I got older, to really build curriculum and build programs that could draw the girls out and draw them into becoming more interested, especially when you're in a classroom where it's not necessarily, girls who have already decided they're excited about STEM, they're joining the robotics club or something like that. So throughout the years, I've kind of fine tuned this ability to create programs that get girls really excited about engineering and want to learn more about it and get involved more. I've always run outreach events at every company I've always worked at, and I just, there's just something that lights up inside of me when I get to teach a group of girls about engineering and really see the impact that it has. So, yeah, I've run camps, I've run lots of things like this throughout the years, and then when I moved to Madison, Wisconsin, it just was the right time in my life, and also just recognizing there is a market need here in Wisconsin, especially, in the Midwest and in Wisconsin and, local areas around here. There's just not as much exposure to different careers and opportunities in engineering and science as there are, for example, on the coast. So I lived in Boston and LA, and there's a lot of engineering, and especially aerospace engineering in some of the places that I've lived. And I just want girls here in Wisconsin to be able to see what engineering is and what it can mean for them, and get them involved in a really exciting and fun way
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
help them
I have
reach
like
their
10
potential.
questions based off what you said. Let me see if I can keep it straight in my mind. Keep it straight in
Yeah,
my mind.
let's go.
When did
Let's
you
do
actually
it.
start? What was kind of your first month of operation?
So I started in theory
Okay.
a couple years ago because I went back to school and I went to get my MBA at UW Madison with the intent of
Oh,
building
nice.
a business plan for Stellar Tech Girls. At the time, I was still working as an aerospace engineer, and I was still planning on continuing that career. I wasn't quite sure when the jump was going to happen, but I knew that if I wanted to run my own business, I really just wanted to build out my skill set, my business skill set, and also build a stronger connection here in Madison. So I worked through the business plan in business school, and then it was about 1 year ago, a little like so. I came back. It was my last semester of business school was when I decided to quit my job and that I was going all in. And so I used that last
Nice.
semester to really fine tune the business plan that I had built throughout my business degree, and I signed the lease on my Middleton location a little over a year ago. So it's only been about a year, but it really took off quickly. And for me,
Yeah.
signing that lease was really that point of no return of, now my
Yeah.
name's on the line and I got to make it work. And luckily, I had done a lot of previous research and worked through the plan in business school. So I knew it was going to be a success and I knew that the market here was going to be excited about it. So I had a really great first summer camp season. That was really the first full in-person event programming that I kicked off. And then ever since, I'm a
Yeah.
year-round business. I'm running events and things like that. And yeah, I'm getting ready
Nice. Yeah,
for
that's
for
kind of
my
perfect
second year of summer
preparation. You're
camp.
getting your MBA. You need businesses to examine anyway. Why not examine your own? Yeah, that's perfect. The not so exciting part
Exactly.
of this is always the money side. How did you fund this? Getting started, like you said, you got a building, time. What kind of funding have you had?
So my business is self-funded. So everything I'm doing is self-funded, and I built this business intentionally that way. So being able to use the resources at the business school, I really looked into the finances and what was necessary, and looked into different options of how to structure my business, how to go about financing it, and I was able to kind of make an educated decision. It's a risk, putting everything on the line myself, but I have full confidence that it's gonna pay out. And so yeah, it's just something that I wanted to, this is my dream and I wanted to make it happen on my own. And when you work at startups early in your life, places like SpaceX and other startups, you are able to
Good
have
point.
some
Good point.
financial
Yep.
cushion through equity at startups. So big fan of the startup lifestyle. It
Oh yeah.
can big risk, big reward if you go in a career in that direction. And so it allowed me to, really make an investment in myself and in Stellar Tech Girls and make it happen. And I mean, it does limit my growth abilities. I'm not doing huge, fast growth. I talk to venture firms and investment friends who really want to encourage me to grow quicker and spread the magic of Stellar Girls fast. But I am working to have it be a bootstrapped model so that I can grow intentionally and.
You talked about the curriculum a
Mhm.
little bit. How do you build curriculum like this? I think about that. I've had to do things like this on a tiny little scale. What's your steps to create a weekend program, let's say, and do the curriculum?
Well, I spent the last 10 years building curriculum unknowingly for this to be the ultimate result of it. But I mean, that's really true. I've done a lot of science and engineering outreach throughout my life. It's been my top volunteer thing. It's the thing that gives me fire in my life. So I've always been doing this a lot. And I've run a lot of different activities and programs, or sometimes it's curriculum that I brought in, but other times it's something that's just curated or there or somebody else has purchased. So I've seen bad activities, right? Too. Like not everything is a slam dunk. And so it's allowed me to really kind of curate this, more intentional curriculum, and also to build it into the brand of Stellar Tech Girls is really about being a welcoming, inclusive space for girls to feel like they can truly be themselves and can really open up, and they want to go with their friends because it's a lot of fun. So the curriculum and the activities, you know, it's one piece of it, but it's only one piece of it. And I've built the curriculum over the years, but I'm also always trying new things. Like I have a stack of books of different science activities for kids, and my kitchen gets messy while I explode things and see if I think it'll be repeatable at camp. And I try things out on my niece and nephew, and it's just it's always trying to come up with new and exciting stuff. I have kind of my anchor activities that I know are slam dunks, but I'm always looking for new activities too and trying new things. And luckily it's, I'm an engineer, so I love kind of,
Yeah,
you know, trying different experiments and activities.
that's a
And
good
so it's
point.
not a bad way to spend my time. But the curriculum is just a piece of it too. I think that I'm really, really passionate about, this age is really important for making an impact with girls of considering STEM. And unfortunately, I would think it would be different from when I was a kid, but unfortunately, it's really not. Where, I hear a lot of stories of girls who join a robotics club, for example, and they go in and they're the only girl and there's 20 boys, or they go to a STEM camp that's an outreach that's sponsored by large organizations, and they're literally just one girl and 20 boys. And and then I talk to the parents who are like, well, yeah, she's just not really into it. She tried it, it's not her thing. And it breaks my heart because it's like, okay, maybe STEM isn't your thing. It's not for everyone, but did that make you kind of fall off of a path of it was your thing and that's why you went there in the beginning, and now you're in this space where it doesn't feel like it's for you, you're not willing and excited to be yourself. So I just really wanted to make a space where girls can come in and be themselves and be excited to be there, and listen to music that they like, playing on the speakers, and meet new friends who are also other girls who like science, and really kind of open up while doing these
The
activities in the
social side of it, I
curriculum
think
that
I
I
saw
built.
it on your website, is so interesting that they go there and they might like it, but again, yeah, there's no one around here to socialize with. You don't know other girls here, so they step back. That's a really good point. Um, Question that's near and dear to my heart, having started my own business: how did you make a website and how do you market? Those are two things that when I started this, I thought like, oh, you just click a button and you have a website, and I post an Instagram ad and I'm done. Not that simple. What have you done for website and marketing? Let's
Yeah, I
do it.
mean, it's a lot of work, but I love that piece of it. So, one reason that I decided to start my own company and why this is like I'm never going back, this is for me, is that I never really fit in a box, right? I never really fit into a job description. I never really fit into a linear career path. I'm an engineer, right? So I'm very analytical. I love formulas and coding and math and under analytics, but I'm also extremely creative. I've always done photography and graphic design, and um, I love the business side of things. Like I can hang out in an accounting spreadsheet and be happy, but then I also love building my own graphics and art for and brand. So it's just kind of when you run your own business, you either get to or you have to, depending on you look at it, do a little bit of everything. And for me, it's just it I love it so much. So I've built websites in the past. I think the first website I
Oh
built
yeah,
was
yeah.
for my wedding, right? So like we need a wedding website, so I learned how to use Wix and got it all up and running, and it just like color curation and graphic design. I love working in that kind of space. And so then when I went and got my MBA at UW Madison, the full time MBA there, you choose a specialization. And so I chose within their marketing specialization, there's a brand management path that you can choose. So my specialization at the time, it was called brand and product management. And so I chose that because I knew, I'm an engineer, I'm an analytical, I've been VP of program management, I've run business strategy, right? But this whole marketing and a commercial side, of, selling to local consumers is very different from selling to big businesses in aerospace, right? And so that was where, like you said, you need to build a website, you need to be talking to your audience, you need to understand marketing. And I just had never really learned that side of business. So I was able to really kind of work through a lot of those fundamentals in the marketing program in the MBA. But at the end of the day, I used Wix. I built it out. I've built other websites too for friends, charities, and things like that. It's just once you kind of get the hang of it. If you're not used to it, they do have templates and things like that. But in brand, it's kind of feels intuitive to me. But also, I've learned it. It's been drilled
Yeah.
into me in the brand program at UW. This just consistency with your brand. You need the same colors, the same fonts, right? You just need this consistency that allows you to look professional and be a memorable brand. And so
Yeah.
my website is pretty nice. It's also
Yeah.
me in a brand, so it's like my personality I got to channel into it. But yeah, that's how I got that up and running. And but like you said, it's a lot of work. I mean, you have to be constantly relevant and in front of people at the right times. And where are parents looking? That's kind of what I'm focusing on. Is parents who are looking to sign their kids up. Where are they? Right? Are they online in certain places? Are Facebook ads the right move? How do I get involved with the schools to reach them more directly? It's just a constant, like, does the flyer have the right images that really speak to the parents and the kids? So it's
Yeah, and
it's
that's a good
constant
point. You
work,
have
but
so
I
many
kind of love
different
that
kind of
piece of it.
channels you can go down. You can market to schools, to businesses, to the kids themselves, to the parents, all those different audiences that are in different places. So you've got a lot of different marketing channels to go down.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, but
Yes,
it
yeah,
also means
exactly.
there's not one answer. It's just a constant,
Constantly evolving.
constant trying to
Yeah, that's a
reach,
good point.
trying to reach parents
I
wherever
think
they're
that
at.
feeds in
Yeah.
well to
hmm
my next
hmm
question. So you're a solo entrepreneur. You started this all on your own, no partners. part of my question is, aren't you overwhelmed? But as someone who has co-founders and needs the help at times, but then who else do you turn to when you need help, advice? Who's kind of your sounding board in all this?
Yeah,
Right?
and to your first question, yeah, of course I'm overwhelmed at times, but I've been overwhelmed in jobs at times too. I don't know. I'm extremely I'm kind of a recovering workaholic in a way. So I've always performed at a level that kind of confused managers and it gives me a way to just like, I don't have to apologize for who I am. I don't have to pretend to be smaller than I am. I get to just like, yes, I really
Yeah.
do all of it on my own. And I like doing a lot of it on my own. But I have a really incredible support system. Like I love the freedom to be able to do everything and kind of pick and choose how I spend my time and my priorities. But you
Yeah.
really emotionally you can't do it alone, right? And so that's where I really do miss having a team. Like I loved hiring a team and managing a team and being with other people working towards a goal. So that kind of losing that community is really hard when you go at it alone. So being able to be in the business school and, build some connections there of, really supportive friends who have also been business owners, whether in the past or now, I've been
Yeah.
can
You'd think
be
one
really life
moment like
changing
that
at that
carries you
age.
through a lot of rough days. Um, Related to that, I saw it might have been on your website
Yeah,
again, but somewhere it was you said 15% of the engineering workforce right now is women. Is that the right stat?
correct.
15%.
Yep. That's
That's
the
crazy.
generic
Maybe
engineering stat. It's lower in other disciplines of
you go to
engineering. It depends
electrical,
on which
mechanical,
discipline you're
software,
into.
different ones. Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, which I mean is exactly the reason you did this and why it's so meaningful. But that number caught me by surprise when I saw it.
Right. And I think it's important, I'm an engineer, so I like data, but I also think it's important to remind ourselves of the data, because I think we see there are improvements happening, right? We do see, some aspect of, more discussion around diversity, inclusion, and equity in the workplace and how that applies to the STEM fields. Like the conversations are happening, companies have initiatives that you see other girls in STEM programs. So I think there is this kind of feeling of like, oh, it's better than it used to be, or it's better when I came into the workforce. But it's really not. It's really not that much better. If you look at the statistics, it's not improving very quickly. And so we have to be upfront with ourselves of what's working and what's not. And you know, girls score better than boys at a young age on math and science standardized tests. So this is something that society is pushing them away from it. And at the end of the day, it really is an average of 15% of working engineers are women,
Yeah,
and that's not enough. Like, we need women at the table to have innovative designs that are going to change the world. We need more diverse talent across the board in our engineering fields. And engineering is growing at the highest rate of all employment too. STEM jobs grow at the highest rate. So, if our girls aren't becoming part of that, they're really truly getting left behind of building careers that matter, that make an impact in the world, and also pay well and are real stable careers and can help change their lives. And yeah, so
that's way too
15% is
low.
way too
Yeah.
low. It's ridiculous. And most companies and teams I've worked at have
Wow,
been
crazy.
much
Yeah, like you
less than
said,
that too.
average. So some are 50, but some are way less than 15, man. Wow, wild. All right, Project Pitch It. Whole reason of this podcast. How did you end up applying for Project Pitch It? Tell me about the whole experience going through the show. You're on the first episode, by the way. I think you know that, but I got a sneak preview of it. So you're on the first episode. No. There you go.
Yes,
There you go.
I've seen the
Yep.
promo for it, and I can't wait to see the whole thing. Yeah, I found out about it originally through the MBA program. There's the Weinert Center for Entrepreneurship at UW-Madison. They have been an incredible support system for me. I have mentors there and connections there. And so whenever things come up for pitch-related competitions or things like that, or support for entrepreneurs, they send it my way. So that's where I first saw it. They sent me some information about it, and so yeah, I went and watched all the episodes. I mean, I'm a huge Project Pitch It fan now. I don't really I watch a lot of TV, and so I just wasn't really aware of it before. But now being able to see,
Yeah.
especially some founders I know, have been on it, and it's just such a great supportive place for founders to pitch their business. And so yeah, that's how I got involved and applied and was able to
Very
get
cool.
on. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
a great
we can't
experience.
talk
Yeah.
about your specific prize, but we know everybody gets some prize money. What impact is that going to have on your business going forward, the prize money from Project Pitch It?
Yes, I mean, one of the amazing things about Project Picture is you go in, like you said, knowing that everybody
Yeah.
does come away with some sort of prize. There are three founders who pitch each episode, and there are three prizes at the end of each episode. And so they really try to, align the prizes with what the specific entrepreneur needs. Each thing has its own type of value, and so yeah, so that's just an incredible aspect. I mean, there's so many. I mean, you're a founder too. I'm sure you go into a lot of situations where you spend a lot of time in front of people and talking about your business, and you're never really sure who you're going to reach or what the impact will be. So just knowing coming out of it that there was going to be some aspect of an award was huge for me. And for me right now in my business, I just finished year one. Like I said, I'm self-funded. I'm building the business to be bootstrapped so that it can grow intentionally. And so getting some little boost from Project Pitch It makes a huge difference to me. It allows me to really kind of front load preparing for this second year of summer camp. And so my first year, it was way more popular than I
Good
expected to
problem,
be
but
coming out of the
overwhelming, I'm
gate.
sure. Yeah.
And it's Yes. Yes. It's a great problem to have. I'm so excited that the community is so supportive of it, that parents want to sign up, that they're telling friends. But it means that this year is going to be, I'm expecting it to be twice as big as my first year. And so being able to get that prize from Project Pitch It, let me tell you, it really gave me an ability to prepare and what I'm doing right
Awesome.
now of preparing for the second year and being more set up to
Yeah.
succeed and
Yeah.
grow
Speaking of
as
the second
I'm
year, so what
planning.
programs are you going to offer this year?
So I have one
Awesome.
week day camps. So they're Monday through Friday. They're half day camps, and I have different themes throughout the summer. So girls
Nice.
can come back more than once during the summer if they want to. So I'm really excited about them. I've kind of adjusted a little bit of the curriculum from last summer to just have it be even more impactful. I have a week that's called Stellar Explorer. So that's my personal favorite of every day is a different type of engineering. And so every day there's something totally new and really exciting and fun. And at the end of the day, the kids get to take home the things they made, which they end up playing with at home too. And I really love that one because it gives a lot of broad exposure. Kids kind of come in thinking they're, I love chemistry or, something like that, and then they end up being like, wow, the electrical engineering day was my favorite day. Like I love this activity we did there. So that one is a lot of fun. I have a chemistry week. I have a
Yeah.
space week. So that's a personal favorite because we get to talk about all things aerospace. And I have an energy week where, we talk about renewable energy and the importance of renewable energy. And we build water wheels, wind turbines, all types of things, and really think about what is energy, and why is it important, and how do we build a future with even better energy with
Awesome.
innovative engineering in the future. So yeah, I have a lot of really, really great programming
Very
coming
cool. And
up.
are all the
I'm
programs
really
at your
excited about
Middleton
it.
location, or do you go anywhere for programs at times?
I
Awesome.
do. I do go places. I'm willing to go places. I like bringing kids in from. I always have programming going on in person in the location because it's
Cool.
just such a beautiful, wonderful place to be, and the kids like being there. But I also,
Yeah.
I do events at libraries, so that allows me to reach more kids in the community. So I'll come in and facilitate an event at a library. I also do outreach events for companies. So if companies want to run a Girls in STEM outreach event as part of their initiatives for their company, it's a lot of work. I've been in those shoes of being the volunteer who has a full-time job and now has to plan and organize and put on a whole event for the community. So I can come in and facilitate, bring the activities, bring the materials. So we've done some of that and different community events kind of around town too. I also on my
Oh, I
website
saw
I
that.
sell
Yeah.
activity kits too. So I've yeah, I've built those to be able to, if there is, I've sold those to companies who are running outreach
Hmm.
events. So that's the main interest there. They can also be used by families in the house, but it just gives a way for outreach events for me to bring an activity that I know is going to work really well, and then they get a package lesson plan too, so that it's really easy. It's just kind of a grab and go for running an outreach event. Because yeah, I want as many girls in STEM
Yeah.
outreach events to be successful and for kids to be excited about them. So as much as I can, reach more kids, that's really kind
Very
of the
nice.
other side aspects
Where do
of
you
what
want to
I'm
be in
doing.
5 years? Typical like job interview question. But where do you see this going in several years from now?
I mean, I have, slowly trying to build a new community. You don't get a built-in community like when you join a company and, now you have these new people who will become your friends, right? So, finding other founders through different support networks that exist in Madison. Luckily, Madison, Wisconsin is really supportive and has a lot of great resources for connecting you with other founders. Doing different pitch competitions have led me to some really great friends who are also founders, and you can kind of share stories and vent together. I've also found a couple of really, really incredibly supportive mentors. So one thing that I do love about this
Yeah.
too is, there is
Just
no
yourself.
boss,
Yeah,
and
just
I really
yourself.
like
Yep.
that a lot. Yeah, yeah, but I get to pick the people that I consider a mentor and advisor because I really, truly, genuinely value their opinion, and their support is genuine, and they share a passion for the mission that I have. And so I have a couple of people like that who have been really incredible sounding boards, and
Yeah.
will continue to be as I get bigger. But yeah, it's a totally different kind of community
Oh, absolutely.
when
It
you go
sounds
off
like
on it
as you
alone.
talk, one of the things that comes to mind as we've started our business is just that Midwest nice mentality that like people are so willing to help, even if they don't have a stake in this. Just people are so good around here and willing to help, and it seems like you've seen the same thing in your journey.
It's so true. And
Yeah.
Madison is a pretty small town once you start getting to know people too, which is nice because people are so supportive and genuine here. And I think, I started this business because it's really a social mission that is important, and people see that and they agree with it, and so they want to support and be a part of it. And so yeah, I mean, I have friends who help me out when I need help. I have people I can call when I need advice on things, and I have a really supportive husband too, who believes in me, and you
Yeah.
need somebody to kind of vent to once in a while, no matter who you are. And so when you're a solo founder, whether you have a spouse or a partner or a friend
They get
to be
brought
that
in.
person
Yeah,
for
that's
you is
true.
really important.
It seems like along the way there probably has to have been some really rewarding moments where you feel like you actually kind of changed someone's life. I was talking to an executive in my business at GE Healthcare, and she told a story about going to a program like yours, and how that was the moment that changed her life. And she decided she wanted to be an engineer, and now she's a big time boss engineer at GE Healthcare, and she did it. Do you have any examples of that, of big rewarding moments from girls in your program?
Well, I love hearing stories like that, and I hear that from friends. One of my friends is an engineer, and she was on my team helping me build the business in business school. And she was super passionate about what I was doing because the same thing happened to her. She did a similar kind of program when she was young, and that's what led her to
Yeah.
become an engineer. And so I love hearing those stories because I know it can have a difference. But I also, yeah, I see it with the kids that I'm with, and I lead all the programming myself. I like teaching it to the kids. Those moments when I'm surrounded by kids reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. And yeah, there are so many moments where
Yeah.
it almost is overwhelming realizing the impact that I'm having on each one of these individual kids. And like I can think of some specific moments. Like one girl got dropped off. The first, so it's my camps are week long, so they're Monday through Friday. So she got dropped off on Monday, and the mom, she went in, and the mom was like signing her in, and told me, yeah, on the drive over here, she was kind of
Oh,
grumbling. She's not really sure about going to a STEM camp. It's not really her thing, but hopefully she makes the most of it. So bye, good luck. Right? And so she leaves, which I get a lot of that of, the parent is trying to encourage it, right? And maybe the kid has had another experience in a STEM related camp or something. I don't know, but like because some of them kind of come in like uncertain of the whole situation. And so at the end of each camp, I asked the kids to write on a whiteboard something I learned and something I liked. And that specific kid wrote, I learned that engineering is a
nice.
lot more fun than you think. And it's just such a perfect example of, here she came in kind of being like, oh, this is whatever, I wish I could be at a different camp. But by the end, like truly opened her eyes to realizing, engineering is not whatever preconceived notion she had of it coming in. But it really is a lot of fun, and it's involved in so many things that we see and do in our everyday lives. And I try to introduce a lot of different, examples of what engineers do, and why engineering is important. And we have a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, and there's so many other things, like one time, we were building, I don't know, something, and this girl's structure collapsed, and she just looked at me dead in the eyes and went, "So does this mean I failed?" And it was just this monumental moment where I got to be like, no, there's no such thing as failure when you're in the iterative process of the engineering design process, which I have a big mural on my wall of the engineering design process. So I just kind of pointed back to it and reminded her, you're right here, you're in this circle. This is part of it. You have to test, you have to let it fail, see why it failed, and then you fix it. And watching her kind of pick herself up, and that boost in confidence, of assuming if something doesn't work, it means you're bad at it and you failed. And, just this kind of sad, dejected look in her eye, and being able to really kind of change that moment for her. And hopefully, that carries through to other places in their lives when they have those kind of experiences, whether they become engineers, which I hope they do, but, just the aspect of building confidence and really learning to problem solve like an engineer.
Typical like job interview question, but where do you see this going in several years from now?
I mean, I have, I mean, I'm going to be a little, my initial answer is I don't have to answer that
That's
question, because
point.
I don't have to do performance reviews anymore. And I love it, right? I run my own business. It's like, I honestly like, and I really truly believe there isn't an answer, because I'm growing, I'm building this company. I know what my dreams are for my life and for the company, but I also know that it has potential that I can't imagine. And so, I think about opening other locations in other cities in Wisconsin and nearby Wisconsin. I think about, really expanding and being able to build more product lines that can reach more kids that way, having online content. Like there's just a lot I can do. This brand works really well. The curriculum works well. But I'm planning to kind of roll with the punches and see where it takes me, because, I have more success than I could have imagined in my first year of business. And so in 5 years from now,
we're talking.
You're going to have to do another podcast, and you can talk to me then, and we'll see.
That's a great point, to be growing, but I don't have to be anywhere in 5 years. I'm going to blaze my own trail, which is pretty cool. What do you know now that you wish you had known a year ago in this startup process? Anything that comes to your mind of like, gosh, if I had just known this on day one, things may have gone a bit smoother in this journey?
I mean, it's just, there's so much that I'm constantly learning. I mean, I came into it knowing that I wasn't going to know everything. And I'm still early in where I'm going. And so, I'm really happy with where I took things over the last year. I think just, a year ago, I would just encourage myself to keep moving forward, and that's kind of what I'm still doing now of, rely on mentors, build a support system, do things alone if you want to, but call up a friend if you need support. And I think there's a lot when you start your own company. You're putting your kind of reputation on the line at the same time too. And so just to know that you have a support system, and to keep moving forward, and that you have goals, and you're gonna get there if you just keep moving ahead. But yeah, and don't be afraid to go do Project Pitch It. I guess I would have told myself a year ago too, because it was a really great opportunity, and I was kind of nervous going into it. I'm not used to being in front of a camera, so it was a new experience for me. But
that's a good point.
Definitely
this whole startup
really,
thing.
really
There's
good.
so many things that make you uncomfortable, but usually good comes from them. So it kind of strengthens you all around. Yeah.
Exactly.
In closing, I'm just going to read some things that I read. Again, I think on your LinkedIn page, but they sound like a superhero from a sci-fi movie, but they're about you, and they're freaking amazing. I was also a launch chief engineer where I reviewed and managed risks and worked on launch operations. That sounds like a sci-fi superhero. I was the VP of program management at an aerospace startup, Ursa Major. You're like a superhero. It's unbelievable. I'm extremely impressed with that part of your career, and even more so with what you've done, for girls, STEM, all of that. Like I said, that 15% stat, hit me when I read it. I work in the engineering world, and it's kind of like, what the hell is going on here? This has got to be better. And you're doing something about it. So unbelievable. Congratulations. Thank you for all you're doing. One final plug, because we haven't really talked about your website or anything yet. So Stellar Tech Girls, that's the website, all one word, stellartechgirls.com. And then lots of social media presence as well, all at Stellar Tech Girls. And that's it.
Yeah, go check out my website. I have summer camp signups right now. I also provide scholarships to any girls who don't have the financial ability to pay for the fee. So I'm always looking for people who want to support the mission and sponsor a scholarship. I also have amazing merch and activity kits on my website.
All right, so Marina, awesome. Thank you. Keep being a superhero. We'll talk again soon. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you all for your time and your interest. Really looking forward to the rest of what we're going to do here. Talking again to more Wisconsin entrepreneurs, founders, telling those stories, hopefully giving other entrepreneurs some advice and some ideas of how to move things forward. Excited to keep this going. Thank you, Wisconsin.